Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today because we're going to unpack a trap that honestly deeply affects almost every single one of us. We're looking closely at that societal trap of always waiting for the quote unquote perfect moment to finally start living. And we're pulling our insights today directly from a wonderfully introspective series of essays from the Infinite Inside blog. The author of these essays has laid out this incredibly compelling look at the hidden cost of postponement and how our dreams just get slowly sidelined over time. It's a fascinating journey of self-reflection, and I genuinely think it's going to change the way you view your own timeline. Okay, let's dive into this. From the very beginning of our lives, right? Our families, our teachers, the media we consume, they all constantly drill this idea of relentless persistence into our heads. Never give up. We're taught that hard work always pays off. We're essentially handed this expectation that the road to success is just a straight line. Dream a little bigger, work a little harder, and you'll eventually get there. And look, none of these lessons are inherently wrong. Perseverance is absolutely essential to surviving failure, for sure. But the real problem pops up when this singular straight-line narrative completely overshadows the incredibly messy, complicated reality of actually pursuing a lifelong goal. You see, we're constantly sold this very specific, cinematic illusion of the destination. What do we see in the movies? The hero refuses to quit. They fight the good fight. The lovers hold on. And in the final scene, everything just magically falls into place. Life eventually rewards pure intentions, right? But contrast that with what we rarely hear about. We almost never hear about the unseen reality, the silent battle. When you read a motivational quote, it's super easy to feel this sudden rush of encouragement. But the true, genuinely difficult part of any journey begins when that initial spark of inspiration fades. It begins when progress is painfully slow, when you're putting in the effort but zero results are showing up, and when you are just facing ordinary days of failing and doubting yourself in total silence. Section 1. The slow drift, how waiting becomes a habit. Because the truth is, we rarely abandon our dreams in one big, dramatic, heartbreaking moment of failure. It really doesn't work like that. Instead, we succumb to what is basically death by a thousand cuts, where this quiet postponement just becomes a completely normalized habit. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that looks like. We tell ourselves these highly specific, seemingly rational lies that slowly drain away our time. I'll start after this exam. I'll do it once my job becomes stable. I'll focus on my dream once my baby grows up. I mean, they sound incredibly responsible, don't they? But choosing what we need right now over what we ultimately want, again and again, turns putting things off into our default setting. We convince ourselves that our real lives will finally begin after we hit some arbitrary milestone that hasn't even happened yet. So this leads to the author's piercing core epiphany. And it's a question I really want you to just sit with for a moment right now. How much of my life have I spent waiting instead of living? When your entire existence depends on something that hasn't happened yet, you are existing, you aren't living. And the answer to that question, as the author realized, is rarely comfortable. Section 2. Life doesn't move in a straight line. The life cycle of a dream. So let's transition into the author's own personal journey here, to really see how this grand illusion of the perfect destination just completely falls apart the second it collides with unexpected, real-world responsibilities. Let's actually walk through this timeline. At age 21, the author had this very clear youthful vision. They dreamed of becoming a TV journalist, standing right in front of the camera, giving a voice to the unheard. Life felt wide open, totally predictable. But then came what many would call the lost years. This is that slow drift we just talked about, putting those big plans on hold to handle life's immediate demands. Fast forward to March 2022, a major turning point. They realized they had completely changed, missed the person they used to be, and felt this deeply confusing unhappiness. And that led to a conscious decision to return to writing and traveling, to actively explore the self. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we choose to frame those messy middle years. We often take unexpected detours to support our families or just to recover from a big failure. And society is so quick to label this time as lost years just because they don't look like forward momentum on a career track. But here is the vital reframe. These so-called lost years are absolutely not a waste. Time spent navigating those unpredictable detours is actually a silent builder. The author calls this building the invisible resume. During those delayed, confusing years, you're acquiring some profoundly important skills. You are building immense patience. You are forging the resilience to keep going when things get really tough. You're developing a deep empathy for the struggles of other people, and you are cultivating real inner strength. I want to emphatically state that these traits rarely, if ever, appear on a standard typed-up corporate resume, but they are exactly what deeply shapes the person behind the journey. You aren't losing time at all. You are building the foundation required to hold your future. Section 3, recreating your present. The day I stopped waiting. Let's shift our focus toward the solution now. Looking at the author's incredible decision to actively reclaim their present instead of just waiting around for a dramatic external event to save them. This was a very conscious choice to change their reality. Step 1. Stop waiting for the destination. Just acknowledge that the perfect time is a complete myth. Step 2. Recreate memories through action. Get moving. The author started writing and traveling again. But notice step 3, this wasn't just taking a vacation for fun. It was a deliberate tool to search for the passion they once had and to reconnect with the person they used to be. Action was the literal antidote to waiting. So, the crucial point is this. Breaking the habit of postponement is not easy. The difficult part begins when absolutely no one is watching. It's a silent battle. It requires immense, quiet dedication, especially when you start taking action and those external results do not immediately match the incredible internal effort you are putting in. That's the real test. We've seen how easily waiting becomes a lifelong habit, so I want to leave you with this final, highly provocative question to carry with you today. What dream are you postponing right now? Don't let the slow drift steal another year of your life. Stop waiting and start living. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and I can't wait to see you next time.